Like many people, I read the book by the late Marshall B. Rosenberg called Nonviolent Communication and Language of Life. And something he said to me really stuck. That there's nothing that human beings want more and crave more than to contribute to one another's well-being. I really went with that particular statement of his and said, maybe there's something to this way of communication, which I later saw not as a tool, but more as a process, even consciousness, and some would say even a spirituality in terms of how we show up for ourselves and others, how we connect with people, and what contributes to disconnect. Should I be honest or should I be kind? Well, why not both? Being able to balance difference and respect for those differences. So the way I word that is balancing empathy with authenticity. Showing up fully as oneself without compromise, and yet being empathic and compassionate with ourselves and others in how we communicate, in how we show up with others, in how we show up for ourselves. Dignity in the sense of the way I'm looking at it and the lens from which I see it has to do with being in a state of self-restraint but never repression, and to be able to show up and communicate with yourself and others in that space, and to be true to one's values, beliefs, purpose, etc., despite external circumstances. I would define dignified dialogue as dialogue that is both empathic and authentic. It's not fluffy. I would say that it's anything but polite. It's compassionate, but really being true to one's values, to one's ethic, to one's morals, beliefs, etc., while being completely cognizant of the opportunity to be empathic at the same time. I'm going to be there to support them in their quest. What's their quest? Their quest is to gain greater connection between them, for example, a couple. How I do that is first and foremost to help each other hear each other's feelings and needs. Oftentimes we don't do that because we're very busy correcting. We're correcting some wrong behavior that we see in someone else. And in turn, they usually would like to correct our wrong behavior. Most of us do ask ourselves, what's the point? What's the point of all this? What's my purpose? Capital P or small p? And how do I derive meaning from my life and the life of others? Or in some cases, how do I derive meaning from the death of so-and-so, or my own death, or my own mortality? Exploring that is hard inner work. And I think it helps when we explore that and gain some insight in that realm. It helps us in how we communicate with others and ourselves. What I can do is offer a structure, a framework, and a safe space to discuss that, to interact with it, to explore it, to write about it, to speak about it, to feel it. Finding meaning and finding purpose is one's individual responsibility. I want to contribute to people having those conversations with themselves. Not having a sense of purpose and meaning, coupled with not being able to communicate what's inside of oneself, can be a pretty nasty storm. And so exploring meaning for oneself, purpose, as well as learning the art of communication through practice, through skill development, through knowledge acquisition. I facilitate this, but I'm also a participant. And because I'm a participant, I know some of the roadmaps. And I explore some of those roadmaps with others to say, which roadmap suits you best for you to derive meaning, for you to derive purpose, and in so doing, being better able to communicate in a healthy way with yourself and others in day-to-day life.